Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of National Defense, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, is presiding over a cabinet meeting devoted to defining the country's constituencies and the number of parliamentary seats that should be filled, in addition to presentations relating to the importation of 1 million sheep ahead of Eid al-Adha, the upcoming Hajj or pilgrimage season, as well as the Youth National Program. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has sent a message on the occasion of International Women's Day celebrated on March 8, 2026. And as the Arab League Council today met to examine the latest developments in the Middle East and the Gulf countries, the situation remains tense in the region on account of an intensification of airstrikes and missile attacks. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of National Defense, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, is presiding over a cabinet meeting devoted to defining the country's constituencies and the number of parliamentary seats that should be filled, in addition to presentations relating to the importation of 1 million sheep ahead of Eid al-Adha, the upcoming Hajj or pilgrimage season, as well as the Youth National Program. And the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has sent a message on the occasion of International Women's Day celebrated on March 8, 2026. More details with our colleague Mariam Barshi.
In his message, President Tebboune said that Algeria takes pride in its women and is working at this stage to ensure their full integration into the ongoing transformation aimed at building a modern state. He noted that as Algerian women celebrate the International Women's Day in a new and victorious Algeria, alongside women around the world who commemorate the struggle for women's emancipation, they remain descendants of resistance fighters, martyrs and war veterans whose sacrifices made it possible for the nation to live. The President of the Republic stated that Algerian women are heirs to the honor and glory of historic figures such as Fatma Sommer and Jamila Bouhired, as well as many other women remembered by the nation's collective memory with admiration. He also paid tribute to several female militants and martyrs of the national struggle. He also commended women who upheld their patriotic spirit during the difficult years of extremism and terrorism, including teachers, doctors, journalists and rural women who endured hardships with patience and courage while standing firm in defense of the state and its institutions. President Tebboune further stressed that Algeria is a true state of citizenship built with and alongside women through their participation in all national programs. He pointed out that the government has opened wide opportunities to strengthen women's role in the national projects, particularly by enabling them to occupy the highest responsibilities, positions and ranks. He stressed that Algerian women today have the highest representation in government since independence, as well as in elected assemblies, state bodies and across all fields of economic activity, including women's entrepreneurship, productive family programs and sectors such as education, justice and health. In this regard, he affirmed that he continues to closely follow up on instructions given to the government to enhance women's empowerment and implement the constitutionally enshrined principle of parity. The President expressed his pride and satisfaction at the achievements of Algerian women in creativity, innovation and excellence in fields such as thinking, culture, art and sports. He also conveyed the Algerian people's appreciation for the role that women play in preserving the country's cultural heritage and authentic social traditions, which are safeguarded by educators and mothers who shape future generations in schools and within Algerian families. The President of the Republic concluded his message by extending his congratulations to the Algerian women on the occasion and wished them and their families blessed days during the remainder of the holy month.
And the Speaker of the National People's Assembly, or the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Azouz Nasri, has congratulated Algerian women on the occasion of the International Women's Day, coinciding with March 8th each year, expressing his appreciation for their determination and competence in building the nation and implementing the aspirations of a victorious Algeria. For his part, the Speaker of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boughali, also congratulated Algerian women on the occasion of International Women's Day, emphasizing that Algerian women have historically demonstrated their pioneering role in the liberation and nation-building process. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has congratulated Algerian gymnast Kelia Nemour after winning the gold medal at the 2026 World Championships held in Baku, Azerbaijan. In a message posted on his official social media account, President Tebboune said that Nemour continued to bring honor to Algeria and make history on the world stage, hoping that she would continue to shine in the future. Prime Minister Sifri Gharieb has chaired a meeting of the International Council or the Interministerial Council to present the national strategy for major risk management for the period up to 2035, which was worked out by national experts in accordance with the guidelines of the President of the Republic. This strategy, whose implementation is based on annual action plans with clear objectives and a precise distribution of responsibilities among the various sectors, is part of the Sendai framework for action adopted by the United Nations as an international benchmark for reducing disaster-related losses and their negative impact. The Minister of Post and Telecommunications, Sid Ali Zarrouqi, has paid a visit to the headquarters of Algerie Telecom Europe in the Spanish city of Valencia. During his visit to Spain, the minister assessed the efficiency of the submarine fiber optic cable system connecting the national telecommunications network from the two cities of Oran and Algiers to the European network in the city of Valencia. On the occasion, Mr. Zarrouqi shared technical guidance aimed at strengthening the performance of the strategic infrastructure and improving its operation in line with the rapid expansion of telecommunications. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for making justice a reality for women and girls worldwide, noting that women currently enjoy only about 64% of the legal rights granted to men globally. Marine Bershah has more.
In a message marking International Women's Day, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned of a dangerous new trend as rising authoritarianism, political instability, and renewed efforts to reinforce patriarchal systems threaten hard-won gains in women's rights. He stressed that equality cannot exist if women are not equal before law. Meanwhile, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, expressed deep concern over signs of a resurgence of patriarchy in many parts of the world. Speaking before the United Nations Human Rights Council, he highlighted challenges facing women and girls, including growing online harassment, coercive control, and the use of sexual violence as a weapon of war. Turk emphasized that discrimination affects all aspects of women's lives and called for stronger action to achieve gender equality, describing it as essential for building peaceful, stable, and inclusive societies. He also noted progress in recent years, including 50 million more girls attending school globally since 2015, though women's representation in parliaments remains low.
And the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, has held a phone call with his Azerbaijani counterpart, Ceyhun Bayramov, during which they discussed the latest developments in the Middle East and the Arabian Gulf. The two sides stressed the importance of intensifying efforts to favor peaceful and diplomatic solutions in order to ease tensions and create conditions for the resumption of negotiations, with Mr. Attaf expressing Algeria's sympathy and solidarity with Azerbaijan following the repercussions of the military escalation affecting the wider region. Earlier in the day, Mr. Attaf took part in the extraordinary ministerial meeting of the Arab League Council, which focused on the current situation in the Middle East and the Gulf region. The meeting examined the impact of the ongoing military escalation on the sovereignty and security of several Arab countries, as well as the risk it poses at both regional and international levels. As the Arab League Council today met to examine the latest developments in the Middle East and the Gulf countries, the situation remains tense in the region on account of an intensification of airstrikes and missile attacks. Several areas were hit by heavy Israeli airstrikes that targeted notably Isfahan in the capital Tehran, where several oil depots were set ablaze. It was the second time that Iranian oil infrastructure were attacked since the U.S.-Israeli operation was launched on Iran 1 week ago. According to the Iranian Health Ministry, over 1,200 people have been killed and more than 10,000 others were wounded over the past week. New missile and drone attacks also targeted overnight oil depots near Kuwait's international airport, as well as the desalination plant in Bahrain. A few days ago, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for an immediate ceasefire and warned against a deterioration of the situation that could degenerate to be out of control. In a statement published by the New York Times, he recalled that the attacks had caused tremendous suffering and considerable damage, while affirming that it is time to start serious diplomatic negotiations. In Lebanon, at least 4 people have been killed and 10 others wounded after a hotel was hit by the Israeli airstrikes in the center of Beirut. Earlier, 19 others were killed in Israeli bombardments carried out against the country's southern part. The health ministry affirmed that at least 364 people, including 83 children and 42 women, have been killed so far in the continued Israeli airstrikes. Addressing a press conference in Beirut, he denounced the attacks targeting medical teams and ambulances and affirmed that 9 rescuers were killed within a week. Now, the British government has assured the Parliament that food products from Western Sahara cannot be presented as originating from Morocco. Miriam Bashir develops.
In a written response to a question from Labour MP Brian Leishman, the Minister of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, Angela Eagle, said that the British government was committed to ensuring that consumers are not misled about the origin of the food they buy. She pointed out that in accordance with the rules of consumer information on foodstuffs, labelling must not be misleading as to the origin or provenance of products. She argued that when information is provided on the origin of products grown or manufactured in Western Sahara, the information must be accurate and cannot be presented as if they were Moroccan products. She added that labelling products originating from the Sahrawi territory as Moroccan would be considered misleading under food labelling rules. In her response, the minister stressed that officials in her department were working closely with the agencies in charge of enforcing legislation to ensure that food labelling complies with current standards and does not mislead consumers as to its origin.
That's the end of the news bulletin. Time now for our weekly program, the international event of the week. As for me, I'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition. Thank you and صحفتكم.
The international event of the week.
As violence flares up in the Middle East and beyond the region, the US and Israeli forces pursued their airstrikes on Iran, targeting military, nuclear and strategic infrastructure. On the second day of the escalating conflict, the airstrikes have intensified across several Iranian cities, including the capital. According to the Iranian authorities, hundreds of people have been killed and thousands others were wounded since the US-Israeli coordinated operation was launched on Iran. The violence has also spread to other countries, including Lebanon, that was hit by a wave of Israeli airstrikes on the country's south and the southern suburbs of the capital Beirut, killing scores of people. Evacuation orders were also issued, forcing 300,000